After having installed EDIUS, I have started the program for the first time, and directly after it has started, the folder settings window opens. EDIUS now asks for us to specify a work folder in which EDIUS can store projects and their relevant data. It is advisable to use a separate hard disk for this, although of course this depends on the size and performance of the hard drive in your computer. On a laptop, it is common to use the system drive for such things, but in an ideal situation, especially when working with high-resolution video material, it is certainly advisable to use an external high-performance hard disk for this data. First of all, I click on the browser to input the path which I would like to use. I click on Computer and see the drives available to me. I have here a separate video drive which is labelled F, and I have called this Video. I click on this and see that there are some existing folders. However, I don't want to use these, so I will create a folder especially for my EDIUS projects. To do this, after having selected the drive, I use the Make New Folder option. I then rename this folder EDIUS Projects. Finally, I make sure this folder is selected and I click on OK. Now this path is defined and the message asking you to set a path will not appear when EDIUS starts. Should you wish to change this setting at a later point, however, this can be done easily from within the EDIUS preferences. Usually you would set this once and forget about it, but no need to worry if you have set the wrong path or wish to choose another. Changing later is a simple procedure. After having specified the correct EDIUS work path, the next step appears in the Start Project window. From here, you can create a new project, which we will be doing now, or you can open any existing projects if any are available. My next step, however, is to create a new project, and I do so by clicking, unsurprisingly, on New Project. When it is the first time that I create a new project in EDIUS, as in this case, the Create Project Presets window opens and asks me to specify certain settings that I will be using for the project I am creating. Experienced users who have worked with a previous version of EDIUS or have experience of working with digital video editing may know which settings are relevant to their project. For other users, especially those with no experience, the question is clearly, what settings do I need for my project? And as a rule of thumb, you should try and work in EDIUS using the settings with which the original material was created or recorded in. You should refer to your digital camera's manual to find the specifications, which should tell you what you need to know. In my case, I am using an HD camera, and so I will select the HD box. I also know that my camera records in the 50i format, so I select that box, and I wish to work in 8-bit color, so I tick that box too. If you are not sure about this option, I recommend selecting the 8-bit option. After these three settings have been chosen, which each user will need to specify for themselves depending on their camera, we move on to the next step by clicking the Next button, and EDIUS will at this point offer me a list of project presets that EDIUS suggests. In my case, there are two presets available to me for working with HD video in the 50i format. One with a resolution of 1920 by 1080, and another with a resolution of 1440 by 1080. Both are resolutions that my camera supports, and hence I will select both for my work within EDIUS. After having created the project presets and selected them, I arrive at the Project Settings window. This is the window that will appear from now on when I create a new project, as the presets are now there and will not be asked for every time. A small remark concerning these presets. For the minute, I am just working with the two presets available, and the window asking me to create new presets will no longer appear. However, it may be important at a later date to change these settings due to a different camera being used or working in a different format, and this can of course be done, and I will show how later. But for now I'll continue with my new project. At the top I am asked to specify a name for my project, and it is important to give each project a very clear name, otherwise you can end up with confusion when dealing with multiple projects. I'm going to name my project for this tutorial First Start. and as I have selected the option Create Folder with Project Name, a new folder with my project name will be created in my work folder, and this option is highly recommended. Now I have to decide in which resolution I want to work. For this first start project, I'm going to choose the HD resolution 1440 by 1080. On the right, the information relevant to this setting is shown, and when I am sure I want to use these settings, I can click the OK button. Experienced users who may have some optional wishes that need specifying can do so by selecting the Customize option and changing these options after having confirmed with OK. But in my case, I will just accept the standard settings as they are defined by EDIUS, as these are, in most cases, and especially for beginners, adequate and recommended.